Hey, this is Pablo with LSP Data, and I'll be making a series of videos on showing you how to find leads on your own or how to get ahead of those using platforms like Propstream. Since many of you end up watching YouTube videos like this one, and someone will provide you a list in Propstream, absentee owners and a specific kind of criteria, right? And unfortunately, you're competing against thousands of people that are going after those lists, right? And today I'm going to show you how to leverage the appraisal district in your appraisal district and your county to find these data sets and for you to actually take action on those, right? So first of all, wanted to give you a little review because we are a data company and obviously there's mass amounts of data out there, right? So we make it easier for you to pull whatever motivated criteria you're interested in. And again, just like I'm going to show you today, we have a lot of competitive factors and where we get our data quite quicker than a lot of those commercial providers. And you have the advantage of working with a smaller team for your particular request. So just wanted to leave it at that. And we're going to focus on the appraisal district. So with regards to appraisal district, this is where every year, every county will go through a mass review of all the properties, right, to see if they increase in pricing and whatnot. But from the data point of view or the leads perspective, from here you can get things like probate and absentee owners and tax exemptions to a certain extent. So a lot of our market is in Texas, but we deal nationwide. But for example, just to give you some stats, every month on bigger counties like Harris County, there can be up to 1,000 new absentee owners. Or let's say within a weekly basis of 7 days, you can have up to 200 and 300, absentee owners. So just putting this into perspective, if you're pulling your leads from somewhere like Propstream, obviously they're a massive company, right? And they're in the business of data resale. So at the point where the county provides the parent company of Propstream data, well, it's going to take them a few weeks to process that data, normalize it, and then make sure that they have it available on their website. So at that point, you're probably already behind someone who just goes directly to the county and pulls those records themselves, right? And again, as you'll see, some of them are fairly easy and some of them are not that easy, but that's where we can help. So depending on where you want to spend your time, I think for what I'm going to show you, this is for someone that's starting on their own. Maybe they have limited budget, but this is going to give them that competitive advantage over someone using commercial software, right? Also, like I mentioned, probate is part of those because now the ownership changes, right? When someone goes through a probate, so it might say state of John Smith, right? And those are the indicators that that property is currently under probate. And for those individuals targeting probates, that's another one. And third, a lot of those have tax exemptions. So using Harris County as an example, that had a winter freeze of 2021, a lot of people apply for an exemption. And think about those people whose houses really got damaged, right? And maybe instead of using the money to fix their property, they just wanted to leave it. And maybe if an investor came or someone who wanted to purchase it, it was an easy way to identify those properties, right? So we looked into that, and that led us to a few deals. And another one is a lot of times they'll have things like over 65, right? So at that point, you can get creative as far as the use cases that you want to use, right? So for example, think of finding leads in which a person has a 2-story house, but they might be thinking of retirement, right? So a lot of people are looking to downsize, right? And typically people live in an average of 13 years in a house before they move on to another, whether they're upgrading or downgrading houses. And just to give you an idea, here is part of the Dallas CAD exemptions. And again, there's plenty of them, but just wanted to give you an idea of what kind of exceptions you might find from the appraisal district. So before I move on, my team put together a list of all nationwide appraisal districts. So I'll leave a link on the video so you can just so you can download it, and that way this is going to make it easier for you to find your appraisal district and also find other relevant links here that we've added, as well as GIS. I mean, there's tons of resources here that's going to make it easier for you to find those lists faster, right? So anytime you're going through your county, right, you can Google my county appraisal district, and typically you'll find the data listed as appraisal district, right? And depending on the county, some counties might update this information once a quarter, or once a year. So it really depends on how many resources they have or how big the county is, right? Because other platforms like MLS rely on the county information, so it gives you a competitive advantage that these counties are working hard to have an up-to-date data or sets, right? And again, that gives you an advantage over someone using Propstream. So for example, if you wanted to download this, always look for the certified data ones. Some of them will have supplemental changes, meaning that they'll add new properties that were sold, right? So they might change the ownership or something else might happen within the property, but the appraisal district is going to give you all the details about a specific property, right? The square footage, the amount of bedrooms, the ownership, right? When did they purchase it? And from here, again, you can get, the absentee owner list, which is probably the one that most people target, which makes a lot of sense. And again, if you were to download one of those, typically they're in a zip format, right? They're compressed, and they're going to have a lot of information. So I'll walk you through one of them, and this one's specifically for Dallas County. Again, it would take forever to go through each county, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what to look for if you're looking for this data in your own county. So once you download it, I already extracted it just to save time, but a lot of them may come with information, right? So like I mentioned, this is gonna describe on the Excel spreadsheets, what do those columns mean, right? A lot of them are going to have the account information, which is typically the parcel information, right? So if you're pulling, let's say you download this and you're using Propstream just to compare, or you're using something like Regrid, you can typically grab the parcel number or account number and plug it in there to find that information, right? So again, the other information that this includes is land. It also includes things like, whether you're dealing with residential or commercial. So all that information is seen here. If I wanted to pull, for example, a lot of them will have an account information. This one typically has the information for the homeowner and also the property itself. And again, depending on how big the files might be, it may take a while. So depending on how good your computer is, and a lot of them are CSVs, where you just comma delimited files. And if you need to, if there's some that are bigger than, because sometimes you will get some that are bigger than a gigabyte, Excel might not be the best one to do to open it. So there's applications like Ultra Edit or Pivot Edit that would handle large amounts of data. And anyways, as you can see, you can open the file. There are different ways to view this, right? So for example, this one's not super friendly, but let's fix that here in a second. So here's a better formatted one. But basically, the account information, again, is going to provide you most information about the owner. So if there are certain properties that might have multiple owners, so this might give you a little more insight on, especially if you're getting to skip tracing these properties. But yeah, typically it'll show you the ownership information, the mailing information as well, and also the deed or the purchase time whenever the individual first purchased this property. So for example, if you wanted to see individuals who purchased the property, before 2005 and under, then you can just filter that out. So that way, if you're marketing, if you're focusing on that type of properties, then it makes it a lot easier to exclude a lot newer ones, right? So again, this one's I'm just showing you the account information, but for example, if you wanted to look for properties that have that might be under probate, some of them may have state of, and as part of the owner, and this, again, depending on how big the file is, it may take a minute. But for example, just to give you an example here, here's what you would typically see, state of, right? And obviously, if you have the skill set, you can put this into a database, and it's going to make it a lot easier to correlate the information, right? And tie in the property information, the type of property, the market value, appraisal value, and all that good stuff, right? So all that other information is going to be on their land or residential details. This typically has the details on the properties. And again, it's going to take a while to put that together, but a good way to join it is on the parcel ID, like I mentioned before, because the common joiner, if that's what you want to call it, has the parcel ID. So for example, this particular property belongs to this particular person, right? So as you're joining those spreadsheets, it's a good practice to join them on the parcel ID or the account ID, as I mentioned before. And again, once you get this, the information, right? Let's go back here. Let's say you wanted to pull up a property for this particular person here. All you could do is go to the search appraisal, and again, most counties should have this information, and you can either search by owner name, by site address, mail address, or the parcel account number. And here you can pull more information if you're just trying to analyze one specific property, right? So all this information basically is what you can get as part of those spreadsheets here. And again, it may take time, but again, for those of you who have time, that have limited budget, or you're just trying to get a competitive advantage by getting ahead of everyone else, this is a really good way of doing it. And again, for example, in this one, I'm looking for absentee owners for single family residents, and there's over 217,000, right? At that point, I can select, the years of ownership or whatever criteria I'm interested in, or maybe I'm only targeting properties which are valued under 400,000 or vice versa. And this is going to give you a huge competitive advantage again, because if you're just following lists that gurus are giving you on YouTube, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities, right? Now, granted, if you get lucky, you might access the data as soon as they refresh it, right? But again, you're going to be behind at least 3 to 5 weeks before they add that information into their platform, right? Because they're obviously a lot bigger, right? And again, just as a reminder, we can help you with other leads. If you want to save time, maybe you have budget that you rather spend on the marketing side, right? Or also you'll spend your time just closing deals. But again, just wanted to give you a free way on how you can approach this information, as it is publicly available for the most part. And some of them might require you to reach out to them. Like for example, some counties in Texas, you will have to email them, right? And again, this is all included in the spreadsheet that you can get access to by clicking on the description link in this video. And best of luck. If you have any questions, add them here in the comments. Also, if you want me to focus on specific videos, right, whether you want to analyze land deals or whatever the issue might be, or any questions about data, feel free to add any suggested topics and I'll cover them if it's appropriate. So thanks again, and that's it.